Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are about to listen to the most entertaining and informative wrestling podcast out there. That is not a prediction, it is a spoiler, and this is Kayfabe Critics. Welcome into Kayfabe Critics, presented by MTP. It's your boys, Hollywood Rayshawn Buchanan. I am Michael Marcangelo. You know what time of year it is. Big four event, SummerSlam, which means we had to dust off the cobwebs and get back to the Kayfabe Critics. And I mean, what a time to be a wrestling fan, especially with everything that's been going on over the last year or so. But Ray, how we doing? How are we looking forward to SummerSlam? I know that you're going to be boots on the ground there again.
Yeah, I just got my ticket earlier this week, or earlier last week, I should say. Yeah, so going there, I'm second year in a row. I went in Detroit. It was. Let's say, listen, anyone that knows me off air knows I am a big Jey Uso guy. So I need to find a way to see him on the card or whatever. I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll get into that. But like, it was a scene in Detroit. It was awesome. So I'm assuming Tiva's going to bring the same energy. So yeah, and it's like, yeah, I love, that they're thinking about eventually moving into a 2-night thing, but we can get into that later on. But yeah, I'm excited. It's always one of the best times, of the year. Like you said, one of the big four. So I'm just happy that I get a chance to go again.
Do you think SummerSlam can sustain as a 2-night event?
I don't know if it can sustain. I think it's worth the try. But that's the only other pay-per-view that should be. Like, I don't think you should do. Like, I thought about Royal Rumble for a second. Like, it'd have been cool to see maybe you do the women's on one night, the men's on another. But then that takes away kind of from what WrestleMania is. So maybe just keeping it to WrestleMania and just SummerSlam. I wouldn't touch Survivor Series, not touching Royal Rumble. So we'll see in 2026. I do think if he's back in good standing with the company, that should be Brock Lesnar's retirement match. But once again, we can address that whenever that happens. But that would be the perfect send off in my opinion. And I don't know who would be the person to have him go out, but I think it would be a perfect setting or perfect ending to a great career. So yeah, but yeah, no, I think it's worth the try, and I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll be there in Minnesota, and I think next year is in Indiana. I think, if I'm not mistaken, because I know Indiana.
I thought the Rumble was.
The Rumble's in Indiana. I don't know if SummerSlam's in Indiana or not, but I know they got some deal where they're doing some stuff with them. They're giving them some pay-per-views next year, so I wouldn't mind being in Lucas Oil Stadium next year. I heard it's a nice arena, or nice stadium, I should say. So, but yeah, we'll see. But for
it just feels like. It feels like Mania for 2 nights. Like, that makes sense. I'm sure they could do it for SummerSlam, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like they're going to be. I mean, listen, if they can get 50 or even like 45,000 people to show up twice for SummerSlam, yeah, do it. 100% do it. And I think that's a good way to get everyone on the card, right? It would be interesting to see. And it's also interesting that Survivor Series, which, we'll talk about in a couple of months, that isn't even a PLE that's being put into a stadium. Like, that's a big four, and it's kind of treated as an afterthought,
right? But I really don't know why. I mean, granted, I think honestly they would do numbers every year if it was at Allstate, because Allstate is probably the best arena it's been like for Survivor Series. That's one of the best crowds in the world, planet, like period. Like it's not. There's no debate in that. But yeah, I don't know why it's not in one of like those, like you bring it to a Superdome, or you bring it to a, Mercedes-Benz. So I don't know why that's not the case. They easily could get those numbers. So to me, and listen, we'll get into it once we talk about it in November. But even though we went to a really fun War Games, you and I, we went to a really great one in 2022. I missed the five. I love the 5-on-5. Just give me the 5-on-5, not the 2 rings. That's just me. I like just a traditional 5-on-5 and just go. I don't need to see the cages. I don't just go from there. I get it was Dusky's idea. So, I mean, he came up with it in WCW back in the day. But to me, I feel like keep it how it was, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, it's War Games that could get them into a stadium. Like, that's a big event. The one that we saw in Boston, I mean, that was
amazing.
When Sammy turned on Kevin, like, that was it was amazing. Amazing.
Yep. And then the embrace at the end was great. It was awesome.
But we're here talking about SummerSlam. It's in Cleveland. So let me just ask you this: like, how do you think WWE's done building up the SummerSlam card?
I mean, I think they've been great. I think once again, nobody pushes for new stars to be pushed like WWE fans and then complain when they get pushed. So that's happening now. And it's just like you have a new champion in Priest. You have Solo Sikoa that's going to be potentially in a main event for SummerSlam. So it's just like, how are you not pleased with the build to this? I know some people are sick of the Bloodline story. I think that they're about to hit their stride again, with this new regime of the Bloodline. And you should talk about, like I said, we just talked about Survivor Series. Can you imagine if it's Bloodline 1.0 versus 2.0 at Survivor Series? And that can absolutely get people in the building in a larger venue. Absolutely.
Yeah.
For that match alone. Just for that match alone. So I don't know. To me, I think we're getting a slow build to that. And like I said, we'll get into what we think is going to happen as we unfold each match. But yeah, I love what has been going on. I love the work that Sami Zayn is doing. I love the work that Drew is doing. People thought that Drew was at his peak during the PC run. Nah.
No.
I want you to know I'm not a spiritual fella, but I prayed for this. So good. So good. So good. So yeah, I think that they're really cooking with a majority of their storylines. Could things be tweaked to be better? I mean, that's always going to be the business, but overall, they've done an excellent job with the storytelling up to this PLE.
And the one thing I will say, and we'll get into like returns and everything like that. It's worth noting, just in case something big happens within the next couple of days, that we are recording this episode on Monday, July 22nd.
So even this night, because Monday Night Raw is happening right now. So
right. So these are our thoughts as we had them based on the information that we had. To your Drew thing, Drew's been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that they've used CM Punk while he's been unable to perform has been fucking perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Like this is the feud of the year, and they've barely touched each other. Like then we haven't seen, we get a glimpse of it with Roman for sure, Roman and Cody. But in terms of long-term storytelling and builds like this, it's really been since 2011 Rock versus Cena going into Miami, where they built something for an entire year, and they made us wait. I hope we get the payoff, and we'll talk about the matches that we have that have been announced and the ones that we think are going to be announced. I hope we get that payoff at SummerSlam. But man, like it's so good, so good.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, that's. I mean, and I'm sure they're probably having a time of their lives backstage talking about. Like, it's just like once again, every week, like I said, it doesn't feel stale. Right. And you really feel every week like that he legit hates that man. Like he
might.
He might. But I'm saying, but it's like you really feel it on screen. And once again, it's gonna, as they say now, it's gonna feed families because he's gonna have the program with Punk, and then it's gonna lead to that program between Punk and Rollins, which is what it was supposed to be anyways at 40. So this is amazing. Like, and it's and once again, people know how I feel about Seth Rollins. I think he's the best in the business right now. But yeah, it's amazing what I've seen from that triangle. And once again, I think they're going to be it's going to be special for sure.
Now, it's interesting that we're talking about all these positive things, how good we're feeling about the event, and the question that you asked, pre-show, was: is Triple H holding back some talent in his new role? So what made you ask that question? Obviously, you have someone that you're thinking about.
Yeah, well, honestly, I wasn't even thinking about this. It didn't really register to me, but I seen someone on Twitter and I was like, let me just see if there's actually like a legitimate beef with this. So people were speaking about Bobby Lashley, the Street Profits, even talking about Sasha, which I'm like, Sasha's not even here now, but I'm like, whatever. And
God, I wish she was.
Yeah, I know. It would have been great to see her and Bayley at this stage. How Bayley has evolved, it would have been great because once again, as we talked about before, they gave us the best women's match of all time. And well, I mean, it wasn't at SummerSlam, but in Brooklyn in 2015 at Takeover,
Yep.
that's the best match I've ever seen from two ladies. But anyways, yeah, they were saying that, with Lashley being a two-time champion, that he was a main eventer in the PC era, but then once Triple H had the full reigns, that hasn't really happened. Now he did have some injury, try to put something together with the Street Profits, kind of like a new Hurt Business type of ordeal. MVP, I guess apparently there was screenshot of MVP on Twitter saying that Triple H had the power to maintain that and keep that together. He didn't. So that was just raising some eyebrows. So to me personally, I don't think that they were holding them back, but I just wanted to know what your thoughts was on it, and just what do you think they could have done? I do have some more on the Street Profits, but I want your input on what on that notion that they were being held back potentially.
So I definitely, when you think about it a little bit more, the Street Profits are a team that has fallen off, but it's hard for me to believe that that's because of Triple H, seeing as he put them on the map in NXT.
Right.
But maybe it's it's just not the right gimmick. They never fully committed to the suit wearing heels. They kind of tweened it, right? When they teamed up with Lashley, they should have just gone full bore into it. I understand that they probably sell some merch, whatever it might be, but we never get to see if they could be the heels that we think they could be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that was a pretty big disservice. But with Lashley, listen, the man's he's a genetic freak. He looks every bit a WWE champion.
Mm-hmm.
He is someone that needs to have a manager to hype him up, because he cannot do it on the set.
Yeah.
And I think they've tried. I thought him with MVP was great. Let me just ask you this question. When's the last time Bobby Lashley had a 5-star match, in your opinion?
5-star? Oh, I didn't say 5-star, but I love the match for him and Brock at the Rumble. I thought that was awesome.
Yep.
With Brock.
Well, Brock doesn't have bad matches.
Yeah, I'm saying, but you say that, I'm saying with him. So maybe with Brock, but him where he probably was the guy, probably back in the day with him and Umaga.
Right. So it's been
his match, that match was really good. That steel cage match, for those that forgot that one, when he jumps through the cage.
Is it possible that he is this generation's Ahmed Johnson?
He's better than Ahmed Johnson, but yeah.
Well, he's a champion, for sure. But
yeah. I'm saying I don't remember anything from Ahmed outside of him being on the thing of In Your House. I remember playing that game In Your House and playing.
His Pearl River Plunge was one of the best finishers in the mid to late 90s.
Yeah.
But a guy that looks like a champion has in a match, he should be completely dominant. But in this day and age, just like then, by the way, that doesn't fit the WWE mold. The only guy that they've ever had that ran through everyone and didn't really sell, and it's hard for a guy like Lashley to sell to someone who's legitimately smaller. Brock doesn't, and he doesn't get the credit that he deserves for being a great seller. But you can't have Lashley selling realistically against anyone that's not his size. Maybe AJ Rollins and there's a couple, but they've started and stopped him too many times at this point that at 48 years old, I think it's hard for me to say that they're dropping the ball with him.
Right, exactly. I think maybe, and maybe that was the final run that he had. I think that he solidified what he's been. So he came back in 2018. I feel like from 2018 to 2021, it was kind of shaky. And then once he got with the Hurt Business, got with MVP, he was looked at as a main event player. No pun intended, because shout out to TNA. But it's just it was no main event mafia over here. But so, which, side note, that's still one of the best factions of all time, regardless of a brand. But they were awesome. But yeah, so I think that's what it was. I do think the only thing I'll say, the Hurt Business should have gotten more runway than they did, because you eventually would have built Cedric Alexander. you would have restored Shelton Benjamin's career, which I saw his interview. Hey, Hunter, whoever, listen, if you could bring back Shelton Benjamin, once again, we know we could do in the ring. We know why not? Why not? Why not bring him back? Why not? He deserves one more, go at it. Don't need to see him in TNA. Don't need to see him in AEW or any other promotion. I New Japan. Bring him back to where he started. And he's one of the, he was OVW greats. He was in that class. Like he deserves
and
a proper final run.
You can repackage him in such a way that you build him up as a guy that's always been looked over, right? It's always been laughed at.
Exactly, right.
Because I think of, you put him in a match with Gunther, you put him in a match with AJ, you put him in a match with, the list goes on, and those would all be amazing matches.
Yep.
Amazing matches. And he deserves that run.
Right, exactly. So it's that, but with the Street Profit thing, right? And I think you and I had spoke about this when it happened. That Money in the Bank match 2 years ago for the title against the Usos. And this is why I said about when you say, does a team make the title, or does the title make the team? I was like, I think to me, the chase was cool, but I'm like, they needed the belt to legitimize what was going on. I felt like they haven't had a run since that match. Because listen, and I told them when I met them last year before Monday Night Raw, I told Dawkins and Ford, I was like, I had the thumbs up. I said, look, y'all had the match of the year. I said, yep. I don't care what Fightful selects. I don't care what any of these bloggers say. Y'all match with the Usos. That was the match of the year. When Ford hit that frost blast, and I was like, for like the second time, I thought it was a wrap. So that to me, they told us a great story in that match, and I'm big on that. Can you tell a great story in that match? They did, and I was like, okay, put the belt on them. It's time, and I get it from a Bloodline story why they didn't do it at that time. I get that, and it eventually it made sense, but it's just like at this moment now, they're becoming almost like tag team jobbers. That's insane. And Montez Ford is a singles star waiting to happen.
Yep.
Let him have his moment. Y'all did it with the Dudleys. Y'all did it with the Hardy Boys. Let Montez Ford have his moment, please. Let him have his moment. He could be IC champion. He could be US. Any title you want to put on him, or just even in that picture, he's going to deliver. And once again, I think Dawkins is not Marty Jannetty, like X-Pac said on Twitter, on X, whatever you want to call it. But it's like, so he wouldn't fade off into the sunset. So let them have that run. Put him back in that picture. But that's my only thing. I just think that they could do more.
I wholeheartedly agree with you that there should have been a time for them to be tag champions and real tag champions and have a good run. However, after seeing how the Bloodline storyline played out, I wouldn't trade Street Profits going over at Money in the Bank for Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn beating the Usos at Mania. I wouldn't trade that.
So because that became the payoff, you're right. No, right. But without knowing that was going to be the payoff, right? I'm as a fan, I'm like, what the hell is going on? Because I'm like, once again,
right.
They gave you the match of the year, period. I once again, there's not so many other matches I remember that year. I remember that match, and I was like, man, they told a phenomenal story. Told a great story.
Yeah.
But yes, and in hindsight, yes, it does not top, the tag team being in the main event. That it was great. It was awesome.
I'm sorry, but match of the year in 2022, it's Austin KO. It just has
for sentimental reasons, yes, absolutely. But
it took a suplex, on the outside.
Yeah, I know. I was there. It was crazy. Like there was. Side note: grown men, including myself, in tears during Austin's entrance. Just in tears. They hear that glass shatter. Because once again, I hadn't seen this as I was a kid, obviously. So you never know if you're going to see it again. And he had moments at 20. He had moments at 25. Had other backstage moments, but to see him come out in that ATV, like it was just, and you see him in the gear, you're like, oh, like this is not just a talk show moment. Like he might actually have an actual match, like tears flowing.
Not to go off on a tangent, but we're going to.
Yeah,
I remember I wasn't there. I was watching it, and I was like, because they were not advertising it as a match, and I was like, oh, okay, they were kind of, who knows what's going to happen. And when I saw him walk out with 2 knee braces on, I literally said to everyone in my living room, he's going to have a match. Like, this is happening. He's not going to walk out with 2 knee braces, and he's not going to do that to the crowd. Right. And when he said, you want to see me have a match, and wherever they were in Texas, I just went, holy shit, get me a referee. That was that was amazing. But SummerSlam.
Crazy.
the announced card as of July 22nd. We have the U.S. Championship, Logan Paul versus L.A. Knight.
Yeah.
We have the Women's Championship. Mommy is home to see if she can reclaim her title against Liv Morgan. And then we have, obviously, the Women's Championship, Bayley versus Nia Jax. The World Heavyweight Championship, it's Damian Priest versus Gunther. And then the WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa. So based off of everything that is announced, we'll talk about the things that could be announced later. Which match are you most excited for?
Liv versus Rhea. So if it stays as it is now, I'm sorry. That should be the main event. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. That should be the main event. The work they've put in, that Liv has put, this is the best work of her career. It's not even close. And once again, I remember when I met her at SmackDown a couple of years ago, and I was when she had won the title from Rousey, and I was just like, I said, hey, champ, congrats, champ. But she just was just smiling from ear to ear. She's put in the work. It's her time. And I know you're not going to get predictions yet, but she cannot fucking lose this match. She can't. You got to put her over. You got to. I'm sorry. And once again, I know we love Mommy. Mommy's always on top. Mommy's back. It's great. If you cannot kill Liv's momentum right away. Once again, maybe you do a best of 3 and Rhea was at the end. But I'm telling you, you've got to put Liv Morgan over. This is the best work of her career. She's been amazing in this run. Amazing playing the Mickey James stalker type thing. Oh, it's been gold. So
let's just get right into it then. We'll just start with this match because it's not going to be the main event, but it should be. I agree.
It should be. Yeah.
And also, this should be, as Craig wrote in our notes, how is this not a custody of Dominic Mysterio ladder match?
Right.
That would be. Right. I mean,
right. That'd be hilarious.
Almost 20 years to the day where it was Ray versus Eddie. Listen. This is still long-term storytelling. The way that they've done this, you almost forgot that Rhea was off TV because of how perfectly they told the story of Dom and Liv and Rhea every single week. I think it's going to be. I think Liv is a really good performer. I can't say I've seen her have a great match yet, except for with Becky Lynch. But I think Becky's great. I think this is the Liv coming out party. I agree she has to win, and I think Dom's going to screw over Rhea.
Yeah, it has to be that. It can't be any other way. And once again, and let's give kudos to him too. What he's become since Clash of Champions 2 years ago, Clash at the Castle, to now when he had the heel turn, like is night and day. Like he works the crowd well. His movement in the ring is better. His cadence is like everything. Like he's really on it right now. And once again, I was kind of unsure when that turn happened, but he's been amazing. And
that heat is real too. We saw it at a live event. I couldn't. I thought it was all typed in, and then when we were at the
no,
he just picks up the microphone, and it was fucking deafening.
Yep. And it's just like, and once again, I don't know if he'll ever. Unless they do like a slow, face turn with him, but I just think he'll naturally always be a heel because of just how, just how the crowd perceives him. So, which is fine, but he's been great. But I think that it's going to be kind of like what happened at Clash of the Castle. Like it's going to be a slow building thing. Like mommy, I've always loved you, and and it's just like it's going to be like you. You disrespected me last week or whatever, like just whatever where they're gonna go with it. And it's gonna be like I'm with my new mommy now. Bam. And
Like
Hits it with the 619. Liv hits with the Oblivion 1, 2, 3. That would be that's how I would book it anyways. That would be great.
I would book it the exact same way that you booked Christian versus Jericho at WrestleMania 20 and Trish the heel turn. Like that's how you're gonna do it.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yep.
Except in this scenario, Dom is Trish. So I mean, but he pulls it off. You're right. He can't be a face because he doesn't have the body type. Yeah. He looks like the sneaking, conniving heel.
Yeah.
And he does it so well. Yep. So fucking well. I'm super excited for that match too. Next on the card, in no particular order, the United States Championship, the Maverick, Logan Paul, versus the man that everyone's saying LA Knight. Yeah. LA Knight has to win this. He has to, but he's not going to.
Yeah. Yeah. He should win. Once again, I remember last year they did that Battle Royal. That crowd went ballistic when he won. And once again, they just threw that Battle Royal in there. And I mean, that crowd was going, ballistic for him. The little kid, I wish I remember the kid's name. I'm sorry to that kid in Detroit, but that little kid was standing on the chair next to me because he was there on my shoulder. Like I'm looking at his dad, like, are you okay with this? I'm like, whatever. He's the kid standing on my shoulder, and he's like, yeah, he's going crazy. And it's just like he's still very much over. Like that's not debatable. This should open SummerSlam. It should. Just like Logan Paul opened last year against Ricochet, he's deliberate. So he should this match should open, and I think this match is going to deliver everything that it's supposed to. So once again, do I think LA Knight should win? And yes, we both agree to that. But yeah, I think that Logan Paul is doing what he's supposed to do. He's been the attraction. It's his homecoming, so to speak. And granted, I thought it was going to be the Miz that he was going to be facing this guy. That's what we thought initially when we did this at WrestleMania. I would love for the Miz to get involved in this somehow, some way. That'd be great.
Me too.
But we'll see. Be like, I'm the original guy from Cleveland or something like that. But so that would be dope. But yeah, this should open. And but yeah, I'm with you. Logan Paul's going to retain.
Do you think LA Knight can survive another loss? Because now it'd be 2 years that he's been pushed and hasn't won anything.
I would say no, but it's just like at the moment, it's just like, I mean, I'm shocked that the crowd is still on fire for him. Still, I'm shocked because WWE fan is super fickle. It's like, what? Fickle. What? Fickle. Super fickle. So I think that I said that it's time though. It's time. Like I said, we thought it was time last year too, but it's time. He's finally getting another title match. I know he got one. Was it at Fastlane last year? No. Who did he? No, that was a tag match. That was a tag match at Fastlane, but last year. But I just think, I don't know. Like to me,
well, he was in a fatal 4-way, right?
Fatal 4-way. That's what it was.
At the Rumble.
At the Rumble.
Was it Crown Jewel in Saudi against Roman?
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, getting those, but it's just like at some point, it's just like, what are we doing? And this is what it goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of the show. It's like, are you not giving? Because once again, it's not like he can't talk on the mic. He can talk to you in the building. That's not he's not lacking that. He stays pretty healthy. So it's just like, what are we missing? And once again, it's you need guys at that mid-card level. Like he's like I said, he'd be perfect for that. I mean, once again, he'd still be super over, and you can have a nice little rivalry between them two, going forward. So, so we'll see. But like I say, yeah, Logan Paul probably retains.
A match that I'm the least excited for, which pains me because I love Bayley, is the Women's Championship match, Bayley versus Nia Jax. I hate Nia Jax. I think she's dangerous. I think no. I don't boo her. I just don't like her. She hurts people. I don't think that she's super talented. Obviously, she's far more talented than I am in the ring. I give that. Yeah. But I don't see it. I don't see it with her. She is like, oh God, remember that? She is like Triple H's Vladimir Kozlov was to Vince. Like they're just gonna keep pushing her, and no one's gonna buy in. Nobody cares.
Well, you know what's funny? The only time, because I was there, the only time that they
Alexa Bliss.
was really behind her was WrestleMania 34.
Right.
Because
the skinny
that
blonde
the
girl.
story between her and Bliss, that people was bought in. I was there. People was bought in to that story, and I was like, oh, okay, like they're getting, she's getting some traction here. It never was the same after that. And then obviously she breaks she breaks Becky Lynch's nose. And then, once again, she's responsible for one of the greatest runs ever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, once again, thank you, Nia. Thank you, Nia, for giving us the man, because
but she deprived us of the one-on-one match that we'll never see that everyone wanted at the time, which was Becky versus Ronda.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Right.
But listen, I get it. She was over at Mania 34 because a skinny blonde girl called her fat.
Yeah.
But that's how low they had to go in order to get her over.
Yeah. Well, they did the same thing with Braun and Shane a couple years later. The same thing. Yeah,
well, he was just a big dumb guy. But at least, whatever. I think Braun Strowman is better than.
Oh no, for sure. But I'm saying, like, that's where, like I said, they go with that familiar angle. But like I said, I just remember, like, them. That's the only time I remember them, like, really being like, oh, like, kick Alexa Bliss out. I was rooting for Alexa Bliss in that match. I was like, Alexa Bliss at that time I thought was the best in the women's division. So I was like, you gotta find a way to keep her on top. But but she, her run spoke for herself.
So I'm hoping that Bayley wins and retains. I don't want to cash in from I don't think it's Tiffy time quite yet. They need to build her up a little bit more. Listen, this is going to be very, very odd for me to hear. I don't get it. I don't get Tiffy time. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't.
I think she's excellent. I think she's excellent.
You think she's hot?
No, I love her finisher. I love the prettiest moonsault ever. I think that's a phenomenal finisher. No, but Money in the Bank showed me something though. Like, I thought that women's match overall was really good. Cause I didn't see too much of her matches like that, like in totality. But when they had her go over, once again, she went over because she's clearly gaining more traction as time goes on.
Yep.
So they said, okay, it is her time for real, because it's okay. Eventually, she's going to be the next women's champion. You know what I'm saying? Regardless, but I'd rather see. Oh, well, she's on SmackDown, but I'm just looking. I'd rather see her versus Rhea or Liv, not necessarily. Well, Bayley would be good if that was the case. Bayley is awesome, but not trying to see her against Nia Jax. I'm not, obviously, not many would, but I know. I think eventually it will be. It's like Tiffy time. Once again, I think she's gotten better each time. Once again, the match that put her on the map for me was the match at No Mercy last year against Becky. I was like, oh, okay, she can go. So, and I think that was their initial, like, oh, like, she can go, she can deliver, she's good on the mic. And yeah, obviously, it helps that she's, attractive. But like I said, she can actually go in the ring. She can talk. She has that air. She has that, that arrogance to her. It works. So it will be her time. I don't know if it'll be her time come next Saturday, but it will be her time soon.
I would just prefer, and this is just me, I wish they were pushing Chelsea Green as hard as they were pushing Tiffany Stratton, because I love Chelsea Green.
Chelsea Green. Listen, the side note, also the work that Samantha Irvin's doing with all these intros now is it's amazing. But yeah, once again, this feels kind of like when her husband won in was that 31? Was that 31? No, 32 when he won the IC title.
Oh, Zach, yeah.
Zach Ryder, yeah, Matt Cardona, excuse me. you know it, bro. But I feel like she was on, because the crowd. I didn't realize the crowd was ready for her to win. Like when she came there,
yep.
she took, and what a fucking spot! What a spot!
What a
spot! Like to take that and you get a little bump and you just fall. Kind of like Shane McMahon back in the day. I said that is unbelievable. Like what a finish to that match. Easily the best women's Money in the Bank match that we've had. Like it's not close. So I said, wow, bro. So yeah, I think maybe they put her towards the Rumble. She wins at the Rumble. Who knows? But
I hope so because
yeah,
she's over.
She deserves it. She deserves it. She deserves it.
And I loved her ever since, obviously, ever since she was on the reboot of Tough Enough in 2014. I loved her. Like she's a pro wrestling fan, has been her whole life, worked her ass off, and there's nothing that they give her that she can't do. Right now, that's how some people feel about Tiffany, although she's been around a lot less. It kind of feels like it's weird because this looks like a manufactured push that 9 times out of 10 the WWE crowd hates. But she's she's getting over.
They're in there yelling, 10
I know.
feet time, 10 feet time. So I mean, they're fucking with it. I've seen the posters in the they're rocking with her. So it is what it is. But you got that. Then you have I don't know. I think that she she definitely deserves so much Chelsea Green. She deserves that run. And once again, she also put Doudrop over. Doudrop was sorry, Piper Niven for those that don't know what the name. And I'm glad they changed it to Piper Niven because Doudrop that was a joke. Yeah, I think she treated it like a joke. So I'm glad.
I mean, can you imagine like she wins the title and they have her on the Today Show and they're like, superstar Doudrop?
Yeah, it's like it's a joke. Yeah, come on. But she put Piper Niven over.
Yeah,
she made
it look good.
Yeah, they looked like a formidable tag team, like Beauty and the Beast, so to speak. And I mean, I think they're both pretty, but I'm saying, but you know what I mean, just from a physicality standpoint. So it's just like that. That's where, like you said, they gave it to her, kind of like just like let's see what happens, and they deliver it. I don't know. I just think to me, you're probably right though. I don't think they have her cash in. I feel like it's happened the last few times, I think, at this event. So I feel like they started becoming predictable. Maybe they'll do it later on this year.
Yeah.
Wait,
well, she'll definitely be out there.
Huh?
Yeah, she'll definitely be out there, right? Because you can't have her not out there. She's the Money in the Bank briefcase winner, and she always accompanies Nia Jax. So we both hope Bayley wins this match, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right, World Heavyweight Championship match: Damian Priest versus GUNTHER. What do you got?
Priest has to retain.
I disagree.
Gunther just had a very long run as IC champion, one of the best runs of all time. Once again, he brought prestige back to that title. But once again, in the moment, once again, you can have another match where the payoff gets to Gunther, but in this moment, and still, your World Heavyweight Champion, El Campeon, all rise for Damian Priest. I just once again, he's growing on me. At first, I was saying, I don't know how's it going to look. Ironically, because it's funny how they came together, but I thought that he could be a new Edge coming out of NXT. When I saw that a few years back, how they were packaging him, even though it's still a chokeslam, like I love the chokeslam fan. I love the South to Heaven. I love that. I think that he's gotten more comfortable on the mic. I don't know. I think for this moment, Priest should retain, and then like I said, if you do a rematch or whatever, Gunther wins then. But SummerSlam, Priest should go over.
I think Damian Priest has nothing left to prove. I think he's had a great run. I think that he's proved himself as a worthy champion. The reason why I have Gunther winning, I think the prestige that he added to that belt, the IC belt, was great. You can't have him lose too many times in the calendar year. And I think Gunther wins, and we hear Brock's music.
Oh my! Listen, I mean, you'll be watching on TV. I'm assuming Pat's going to be there. I'm assuming we would get the same reaction he had when he did it against Roman a couple years ago. That would be insane. Thankfully, where I'm sitting not on the edge like I did at WrestleMania, so I don't worry about falling over. So if that doesn't happen, I could hold on to. I'm near the rail. I could hold on to the rail, take a video, and go crazy that way. That would be awesome. That would be awesome if that was the case, right? Actually, that would be beautiful. if that was the case.
Because that's the match that we wanted.
Yeah.
And they said they were going to give it to us a couple years ago. And we just never got it.
Well, I'm 30 last year at 39. I thought that would have been the way that they went.
Yeah, but then they gave it to, what was it? Omos?
Yeah. And that was comedy at its finest. And once again, it's not shade to him, to Omos, but it's just like, dude, like you wasn't ready for that moment. You know, shout out to MVP for trying to make it legitimate, but it's like, bro, like he's not even in his you know, he's not in his class at all. But
it was a squash match.
Yeah, squash match, yeah. We don't get the banger that we got if they didn't go that route. So that triple threat match, most people thought that was the match of the night. So you know, Drew, Sheamus, and that was amazing. So you know, shout out to Big E. Big man, stop bumping me.
I just think Gunther winning and then Cole putting him over on the microphone, obviously on the headset. They give him a mic and they say, you know, he says that he's the only person that's restored prestige to the IC title. He brought back the King of the Ring. Nobody's cared about that, and now he's the World Heavyweight Champion, and no one, and I mean no one, can dethrone him. Cue Lesnar's music. That place will go nuts.
Right. Yep.
Absolutely nuts.
Yep. And you know, or I mean, they want to do this because of what could happen later on. If the story wasn't what it was between Cody and Solo, that'd have been a great moment to have Roman there too. Yeah. Because you know, Roman versus Gunther would have been really, really nice too. But we won't get that immediately. We'll get something else, which is fine. But yeah. Listen, I would love for that to be the booking decision. That would just be amazing. Once again, we didn't know anything about CM Punk. You know, we thought about it. We hoped that something could happen like that. But I mean, you were floored. You were shocked. You know, especially how they went away from the camera in that moment, and call the personality drops. It's like, oh my God. So yeah. So to hear the Beast Incarnate, like, you know, that would be crazy.
Crazy. Hear Pat McAfee say the alpha male of our species has returned. Like that's what I'm ready for.
The beast is back. Holy shit.
We have a new match that has been added to SummerSlam. Like I said, this is being recorded on Monday, July 22nd. In the Intercontinental title, it will be Sami Zayn defending against Braun Breaker. Round 2.
So not Ilya Dragunov then. So
nope.
No. Got you. But we can just get into that. Where my dogs at? It's time.
Yes,
it's time. I'm sorry. I love Sami. What Sami has done for this company the last 2 to 3 years has been amazing. From his comedic timing, from his matches to his workhorse mentality, which he's always had since his Generico days. Like he's been amazing. It's time. It's the Wolf Dogs time. It's time. Like Braun Breaker's a fucking monster, bro.
Monster.
Like he is. Yeah, he. I mean, man, like the quickness he moves with, the power he moves with, the intensity he has. Like he's that guy, and he's a main event player waiting to happen.
Yeah.
And it starts now. Once again, the IC title has always been the workhorse title. It's been a title of like, okay, we're about to give you the ropes. We want to see what you do with the title first. Like it's time. So when my dog's at, the dog should be in the building. You know, I would love him to come out to Hall if you hear me, but I know he's not gonna do that. But it would be, it'd be great. It'd be great.
I mean, it is a dog pound. So there's
a lot of parking. Yeah. You know, Colin, if you hear me, yeah. Oh man, that would be That's another reason why he's got to win. You can't have the Wolf Dog in the dog pound and not win the title. He's got to win, and he's got to hit it with the spear. 1, 2, 3, hit the music. Like it's beautiful.
Sami has done like what you just said. Like it can't put it any better. He's proven that it doesn't matter what spot he's in, he's going to make it the best. I mean, he got a match with Johnny Knoxville over, and I would say it was far more entertaining than I ever thought it was going to be. And that's because of Sami.
He said on Stone Cold show, like he was like, like that was a crowning moment for me. Like he's like, yes, it wasn't obviously like a 5-star, but he would like to get that type of reaction and have that reaction from people. It was great, which he's not wrong. It was awesome.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep. So Sammy can do anything. I don't think this loss would hurt him, but it would absolutely make Braun Breaker. This is their second match. Sammy already beat him, so that's fine. Now it's time for, like you said, Braun Breaker to get that moment. The WWE Championship. The American Nightmare Cody Rhodes versus somebody's tribal chief, Solo Sikoa. I think that this new iteration of the Bloodline since Mania, I think it's been awesome. I never would have expected to be like for Solo to be as good as he is. With the camera, even on the mic, he's great. The storytelling with him and Paul over the last couple of weeks. So when he put him to the table at MSG, like, it's just been awesome. This is a 4-year story, and it's not over.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. The last time we had a 4-year story was Shawn and Hunter.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. It really not Shawn. Well, Shawn was involved, but it was. I'm saying, I know Shawn Hunter. Yeah, because
it was 02 when he came back until DX.
Yeah. Also,
in 06.
And yeah, exactly. So, but even Taker and Shawn. I think about Rumble 07. I think about Rumble 08, and then they had 25 and 26. So that was another 4-year story too. So it works. It works if you tell it right, and you have the right moments at the right time. So yeah, that's I mean, that's how you do it. But yeah, what Solo's been able to do once again, when he was introduced to us as a street champ in NXT, this is what he was doing. From a Mike perspective, anyway, we forget because of him being damn near mute, and then people were mad about what happened at Clash of the Castle, back in 2022. So we forgot, and once again, he's played his role. He came in as the enforcer, and then once again, the signs were there that he was going to be the guy. We overlooked it because it was just like, oh, it's Roman, it's Jay, it's Jimmy, whatever. But there was signs. The signs were there that he was going to be the guy that took over once Roman went off for a break, and I thought the MSG segment was the crowning moment so far during this one. I thought that he, really shined through in that moment. Obviously, Heyman added so much nuance to that with, the not shaving the beard, the look like he hadn't slept in, a million days, just adding that nuance, adding that worry, adding just that perspective really put them over in that moment. And like you said, his work with the camera, what Tama Tonga's done, what Jacob Fatu has added has been amazing. He's
incredible.
He looks great. So yeah, once again, it grew. Because at first I was kind of like, this feels forced too, but I'm like, now, like I said, it's starting to. It's been a nice slow build, and I'm excited to see what he does, because this essentially could be the main event.
No, it's gonna be the main event.
Well, no, I'm saying if Punk and McIntyre are a match, that could be the main event, because that doesn't need a title.
Yes, I agree, but this is going to be the main event because Cody's going to be Solo, and either at the end of the match, The Rock is going to come out and align himself with Solo, or Roman and Paul are going to come out. So that's how you're going to have to go home. Like, it's going to be one of those two things. I literally just put the whole thought of The Rock coming out in my head as you were talking, and I'm like, well, that could actually make sense if Cody wins, and then you just hear, and the final boss is back. Love that.
Right.
Would also love if Roman comes back too. But
yeah, I mean, I guess it probably would make sense more so for The Rock to come back, only because of how the last promo ended, where he was basically saying that I'm going to come back for that title. So maybe that leads to a match with them and one of the next PLEs. So that would be awesome. And then maybe Roman comes back next month, or not next month, but maybe by September, and then that leads to what's going on at Survivor Series, and then we get into Rumble season. So either way, I'm sure they have some type of surprise up their sleeve. I don't think we didn't have any major surprises last year at SummerSlam. No one came back.
Well, I mean, Rock actually shaking Cody's hand and giving him a hug. That was one.
Yeah, that was Yeah, because if I don't know if you could catch it on TV, but uh there was like a nervous energy
Yeah.
in the crowd because it was kind of like, okay, he's getting up. Like, is he gonna slam Cody? Like, is he gonna like, and
Right.
then to get into his grill and essentially give him the stamp of approval, saying like, you're the
Yep.
guy now. Because you could tell on Cody's face, he was like, okay, like this is all right, like, okay, this is happening. Okay.
Right.
Collectively, we were with him. We was like, okay, like we was expecting him to get F5, like, 3 or 4
7
times.
times. Right.
Yeah, which that would have been on brand. But Brock thankfully said, no, you're the guy, and I give you my stamp of approval. So yeah, that was cool. That was cool to see.
And then we had Jimmy turning on Jay.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Which we thought were like, oh, this is getting old, it's getting tired. Turns out it was the best thing that ever happened to Jay.
Happened. Yeah. 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 I mean, listen, from what main event Jey Uso has become is by far the best entrance in pro wrestling. Like I said, I was just there when they did it back in on when they came here July 1st. Like that I mean, it's that the crowd is comes unglued. Once again,
Yeah.
what you saw in France has been happening everywhere. It has not topped what we saw in France, but the energy that he's coming in, and that's why they have him open every show now. Just about is unbelievable. Like it's up there with the Yes movement. It's up there with all that. It's just like it is really excuse me, it's really taking off. Really taking off.
So Jey Uso is not on the card.
Yeah, which is wild.
So we have to assume that we're gonna be seeing him. Rumored additions to this card are Uncle Howdy or Bo Dallas versus Chad Gable. And obviously that CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre match. Mm-hmm. Which I think I know the answer to this question. Which of those two options do you want to see the most, and which do you think we're going to see the most?
Honestly, I'm fine with both of those matches happening. I love what the Wyatt Six that have come back and done and what they've added. So why not? Why not put them on it? And I'm a Chad Gable guy.
How could you not be?
I'm a Chad Gable guy. So now, unfortunately, that would be the second match on the card.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, because there's not too much of a story behind it, but Gable can go with anybody. So I enjoyed watching him wrestle. So I'm totally fine if that's on the card. Totally fine with that. But of course, from the story, not a story, but the story, is Punk and Drew. Once again, him getting hurt was the best thing that could have happened to that storyline. It was amazing. Yep. It was amazing. If once again, like I said earlier in the show, he's like, I'm not a spiritual fella, but I want you to know I prayed for this. I prayed and it happened. Like what? Like that's like what Drew was done on the mic. And once again, from when he came out, once again, this is what Vince saw all along. So we get on Vince about how he booked talent, but just this is what he said about Drew years ago on that SmackDown years ago. Said this is the future world champion. This is this. Everything that Drew's doing now is what Vince saw then. He just wasn't ready then because he had to mature. But man, when he for the time he's come back he came back at WrestleMania 33, I think. Yeah, was it 33 he came back? Oh, 35, 1 or 2. He came back one of those because I was there for when he came back against Roman. That was his return.
Well, that was 35. So I think he must have come back. So, he came back in 2018 to NXT.
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I said, I wasn't feeling it in that first initial run, 2018, 2019. But by the time he was over in 2020 and won, that crowd was ready for him to win the championship in front of everybody in Tampa. I thought him and Brock would have had a really great match in person. But we got robbed of that. But I said the storytelling that he's been able to do this year has been awesome. And like I said, how they've been able to build Punk despite the injury has been incredible. Just every turn possible is like, I'm going to screw you. Like you're getting screwed. And
he's done it.
It's done it. It's just like, I'm going to make you, I am Satan himself. That's basically, so I'm like, wow. And I'm like, it's amazing how they've built that. Obviously, he's been a model citizen, been a CM Punk since he's been back. So yeah, I think that he is in a very good place right now, career wise, and like I said, this could be this. Like I said, this should from a story standpoint, even though I know what Cody's, I get it. That should be the main event. It should be, because once again, you don't need a title. They could probably go 30. And then, like I said, you can still have somebody come back in that moment, but it's just like, yeah. And Seth Rollins should be the special guest referee.
Yeah, I saw you put that there.
Yeah. So, yep.
So that is not a spoiler. That is a prediction, and you put it there.
Yep. So I think that I think that would be great. That'd be awesome to have him as that, because it gives Shawn, Taker, Brett vibes, and that, we'll get into that shortly. But yeah, it gives that moment, and it's just like, I would love for that to unfold that way. So
yeah, listen, I'm there with you. I think that sooner or later they're going to have to do something with the Wyatt Six, and there's going to have to be a match. I just hope that the crowd doesn't turn on Bo. I think that this could be a great run. I think they need to kind of distance themselves a little bit from trying to do exactly what Bray was doing, but in time, I think they will. I think the crowd's going to be behind Bo. They're not going to boo Bo Dallas. It's not going to happen for a very long time. Yeah, and that would be a good match.
Come a long way from the all you have to do is believe.
Yeah, but that got over. Like, think about that. That was over, and then they killed it. But CM Punk versus Drew, like, that has to happen. Yeah, that will be. It doesn't matter if it's 5 minutes long. It doesn't matter if it's 30 minutes long. That place will absolutely go fucking nuts, and they should. That's storytelling to its finest. Before we go, thought that we'd put together a definitive top 5 SummerSlam cards of all time. We've done this before. We talked about the best matches, so and so. But let's just rank just the top 5 shows. Number 5. This doesn't get mentioned all the time because of the era that it happened in, but SummerSlam 2001, the Invasion. This was a stacked card. I mean, you had Jeff Hardy versus RVD for the Hardcore Championship. You had Edge versus Lance Storm for the IC title. The Rock versus... If I could just be serious for a minute, like, I loved him. You have The Rock versus Booker T for the WCW Championship, which, listen, they did a lot of things wrong with the Invasion, not a lot of things that they can control. They treated Booker like a star, and because he was. And him versus The Rock, I thought it was a great match. I thought it was a great match.
The only issue, and I think Rock said this in one of his interviews some years ago, and I thought he was spot on. Obviously, he's the one that experienced it, but that feud, it should have been longer.
Yes.
And the fact that we only got like a one-off from that was insane. Yes, Booker came over, like I said, was the guy in WCW, was part of the best tag team over there, was the five-time WCW champion. So, he came, like you said, he came over and he was billed the right way. He was booked, the right way initially. WrestleMania 19 is a whole different story. But at that moment, he was touted as the guy. So yeah, that was always a match that I remember. And like you said, who didn't love Jeff Hardy?
Right. And you had Austin versus Kurt for the WWE Championship.
Man, damn. So yeah. Oh, what a time.
And you had the Brothers of Destruction against CDP and Canyon to unify. I think that was for the WWE and WCW tag titles in a cage. Like, that's a great card. That is a great card. Say what you want about the Invasion. I thought the Invasion pay-per-view was fucking awesome.
Yep.
I thought that SummerSlam wasn't as good, but it was the second best pay-per-view in the Invasion storyline. So SummerSlam 2001. Number 4, SummerSlam 2000. TLC.
Yeah.
Nothing else needs to be said.
Nothing. Yeah, listen, what the show they put on, what they put their bodies through, the show they put on, and once again, telling the story. Once again, what that led to at WrestleMania 17, like it was amazing. It's amazing. Yep. What they put on there. Once again, it came from a triangle ladder match, that's what it originally was called. And went from that to, what they did in WrestleMania 2000, if I'm not mistaken, and then like I said, led to that at SummerSlam in 2000. So yeah, listen, I'll never forget what the Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys, and Edge and Christian did for the business at that time. Once again, uh, it was always going to be hard to top that, and they found a way to.
Yep, they
Which
sure
is
did.
insane, but they gave everything they had, and they put on a hell of a show. So
I think this is also, I know for a fact, this is also the event that Shane climbed all the way to the top of the set and fell 80 feet.
was that against Big Show, or was that against?
No, that happened at Backlash.
Backlash,
Big
yes,
Show too. But this is Steve Blackman when he climbed all the way up to hit him with the freaking kendo stick, and I mean that's one of the longest falls I've ever seen in my life, ever.
Yeah,
I thought he died.
And that's why when I was up here, I'm like, yo, like whether yes, we know it's scripted and we know they know who's gonna win for the most part. Name another profession where you can fall 20 or 30 feet, and yeah, if you hit something wrong on the way down, it's fucking over. Period.
Yeah.
So no, it's not UFC. No, it's not some other, it's not boxing, whatever. But I'm like, yo, they you try to get thrown through a glass like like Kurt did to Shane at King of the Ring. you try being thrown there, and then not giving. So you just keep throwing it back there. Oh, let's try it again. Oh, damn, it didn't give. Go, let's try it again. Like that's insane. But yeah, that was wild.
And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is the triple threat match for the WWE Championship. It was Triple H versus The Rock versus Kurt Angle. Mm-hmm. And this is when Kurt, he was out cold, out on his feet after a botched pedigree. And he still went on it and had a great match. That was like the whole Steph and Kurt storyline, which I thought was great. So this is a good card. I think this next one's underrated. SummerSlam 97. Mm-hmm. Everyone remembers that match because that night, because that's the night that Owen dropped Stone Cold on his head and almost paralyzed him. That was one of the toughest things to ever see, that pile driver. But the main event, Brett versus Taker with Shawn as a special guest referee. I mean, this was the Attitude Era before it was actually called that, and that match effing delivered. When Brett spit in Shawn's face, Shawn swings the chair, Brett ducks, and he hits Taker, and then he has to count to 3.
3, yep.
I mean, unbelievable.
Yep. And just once again, a great storytelling. Once again, that led to the craziest match of that year. Arguably the craziest match in WWE history. What happened, a few months later. So it's just wild how instrumental 1997 was to the business. We get Nation of Domination that year. We get a lot of different things that came about. It's like, wow, it's amazing what happened that year. So I was like, wow, so crazy.
Like that spawned D-Generation X,
yep.
Which then led to Bad Blood and a Hell in a Cell with Taker and Shawn, and Kane comes out, and then the next month it's Survivor Series, and I mean, Jesus,
crazy.
That 4-month time frame changed the business,
changed everything. Crazy.
Number 2, and I wonder if you would agree or disagree with this. I think SummerSlam 92 in Wembley. I think that this is a very, very underrated and underappreciated SummerSlam. But if you go back and watch it, you had Warrior and Macho Man. This time they were 2 faces. That was for the WWF Championship. But the story here is it's Bret Hart versus British Bulldog for the IC title. And that might be one of the most perfect matches I've ever watched.
And also, once again, the IC title is the main event.
Right.
Now, as the main event, Bret Hart, British Bulldog in Wembley, not probably, a top 10 match of all time, regardless of era.
It was Bulldog's best match for sure.
Yeah. Oh, easily. And once again, the excellence of execution, like that. This is what Bret did. And Bret wasn't going to talk to the building, but he was going to get you to watch an Iron Man match. He was going to get you to watch a 30-minute match with him. Like you knew you were in for a great match whenever he stepped into the ring, and that will always be his legacy. And those are one of the moments that shined out, that shined through for him, I should say. So yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, this is also the last time that we see Andre the Giant on camera. I think it was Legion of Doom versus, was it, who were they going against?
Oh, I'm drawing a blank right now.
It was Bobby Heenan and somebody.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head. Somebody in the comments maybe would know, but yeah, that's it. But that's so it's crazy how once again how that changed too, because that was from that era. The Giant, Hogan, Warrior, Savage, Flair, Ricky Steamboat. There was so many people that grew up with that era. I love that era. So for that to be the final time, was like, damn, never knew that was going to be the end of the era in that regard either. But yeah, but like I said, that final match alone puts that in the top 5, and then obviously like you said with Randy Savage being who he was, and really giving Warrior his two of his best matches of his career, because they had Fire Mania earlier that year, so it's like crazy.
And then number 1 for me.
For me too. It's everybody.
It's 2000
everybody, but it should be for most people. It should
2002 SummerSlam. The card was The Rock versus Brock for the Undisputed Championship. The Rock puts him over. I mean, you had Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio, Rob Van Dam versus Chris Benoit, and you had the return after 4.5 years of Shawn Michaels battling Triple H in an unsanctioned street fight that people didn't know if it was going to go 10 minutes. They didn't know if he could still go. And they went on for 38 minutes. And it's my favorite match of all time to this day.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite of him is what he did with Taker later on, but it's up there. I guess for what it meant, that should be number 1 for him, because of what it meant, him being out that long and being with his best friend in the business. It was a perfect heel for that moment, as he usually was. People could say what they want, Hunter, but Hunter as a heel was always delivered, and it's like the doctors say I'll be clear, say SummerSlam, and then just seeing that promo, just so good. And then obviously what it led to later on that year, first Elimination Chamber match, hits him with the same music, won, and then like I said, that's why to me people love what Michael Cole's doing, and they love with some other announcers have done. Jim Ross on some of these calls, you'll never forget where you were watching. First one I say, you don't like this one because of how it happened, but the first one I remember is the Austin era began. Stone Cold, never forget that. The thing about when The Rock went into it was like, The Rock's done it. I just would think about that, or the oh my God in heaven, like you'll never forget where, what I'm saying. So it's just like that matters. Michael Cole got that too. The Miracle Kid, the Miracle on Bourbon Street. Like you Eddie Guerrero was on a new high tonight. Like you remember those moments. So that matters. So, but like I said, some 02, man, that was another phenomenal year for wrestling as a whole. But like I said, that particular match. Also, I think you said it, but I'll say it. The opening match to that was Mysterio versus Kurt Angle, and I'm like, in most reviews, that could have been. Well, it was a main event later on at a WrestleMania, but it was like, wow, it was like that was incredible. I'm like, you're starting off with the who's that jumping up the sky, RBY mistake, like, which I know he can't do it because he's old now. I missed that theme from him. I'm like, Booga 619 is great, but who's that jumping out the sky, RBY Mysterio? Yeah, like I loved that theme from him, but I get it why he can't jump out the sky because he's not 25 anymore. Right.
I mean, and that card was that was the first half of the end of the Attitude Era, right? You got Shawn back, you got The Rock doing the graces and doing the honors for Brock, and then that leads us to Mania 19, which is probably, I would say, the end of the Attitude Era in my mind. I mean, that's when on the same card, you had The Rock, you had Austin, you had Taker, you had Shawn, you had Triple H, and that just doesn't happen ever again.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. Once again, variations of them. Maybe Survivor Series 03 might have been the last time because
The Rock wasn't there. Who's gone?
Oh, Rock. Sorry, right. But I'm like, Taker, McMahon. What was that came? Instead of Taker, McMahon.
It was a buried alive match. Yeah,
Buried alive match.
And that's also the one where that was the Team Bischoff versus Team Austin.
Yeah.
Sean almost overcame everything with that damn Batista power bombs out of nowhere.
Right. Yeah. That's another one for me too, because I was like, that kind of put Cena on the map too.
Yeah.
So that's another one for me. That's an honorable mention. If we could have that, that's an honorable mention.
That's Survivor Series, for Christ's sake. So it doesn't even count. Doesn't count. We'll talk about that in 4 months. But
yes, 4 months. We've been all over the place. It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah. For everybody out there, make sure that you enjoy SummerSlam. These big four events, they're making every PLE pretty memorable now. But don't forget the big four. It's the Rumble, it's Mania, it's Survivor Series, and then of course now what we're talking about, it's SummerSlam. For Hollywood Rayshawn Buchanan, I am Michael Marcangelo saying thank you so much for listening to Kayfabe Critics. We'll talk to you later.